What's up, guys? It's another edition of Bulldog Uncensored special episode today. Behind the Scene, episode 1. Today we've got a hell of a up-and-coming band right now in New England. They're young, lots of potential. We got Jordan, Matt, and Izzy. This is Under the Horizon. Guys, how are you?
Good, how are you?
Good. No, thanks for coming on the show. So, we've played some shows together over the past year or so.
Right.
And I've been watching you guys improve steadily and really kind of own your craft and you know, for being under 30, you guys have really got a head start on a lot of shit.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you. That means
I mean, you got a pretty good guidance. You know, your manager takes a lot of care of a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
I'm always talking about that. I'm like, it's cool to be the ones on the stage.
Yeah.
But a lot of the stuff that we do wouldn't be happening without like Mike or any of the people who support us. You know, like it's a crazy thing to think about.
The road crew matters big time.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, we're incredibly fortunate to have a, very good and, obviously very family-like group of people behind us, obviously because some of it is family, but, everyone from, road crew to managers to social media managers, it's, really, I feel like it doesn't get talked about enough with bands, but I mean, we wouldn't be anywhere where we are now if it wasn't for them.
Right.
All right, so we'll go going around the room. We'll start with Izzy. Tell everybody what you do in the band and how you got started.
Yeah, okay, so I guess I am the lead vocalist and the bassist for Under the Horizon. And I guess, I started playing bass when I was 14. It was, during COVID, and I didn't really have much else to do. And I'm like, maybe I'll just pick up something. And so I started out doing that, and a couple months later, I started my own, cover band when I moved back to New Hampshire. I did that for a little while, and then I eventually met Maddie, and we started Under the Horizon.
Yeah.
And when it comes to singing, I just started that because no one else would do it, so.
You would not believe how many bands that we know that it ends up being that way.
Yeah.
They want to do it, but nobody else is going to, so somebody's got to pick up the hammer and go. So how old are you now, Liz?
I'm 18. I'll be 19 soon, actually.
Can you believe that, folks? 19 years old, and already, you guys are coming up on 50 live shows already.
Yeah.
Congratulations about that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
That's a hell of a feat for anybody in your position, only being in the band for a year or so.
Right.
Agree.
I mean, I think that took my first band probably a good year and a half to 2 years before we hit 50. So it's good on you. It's impressive to see somebody in your age bracket to really pound the pavement and make a good go of it the right way.
Yeah.
So we got Matt on drums.
Yes, yeah, I am Matt Palmer. I am the drummer and background vocalist, one of the background vocalists. I started playing drums when I was about 10. Well, actually, my first instrument was guitar. Then I moved to drums when I was about 10. For actually very similar story to Izzy's. I was in a cover band with a couple of my friends, and then my cover band at the time, and Izzy's cover band at the time met at a battle of the bands, and we were like, hey, I was like, you're a really cool singer. Your band is not that great, but you're a really good singer. And so, and then I met Jordan in that cover band, and we all just kind of merged.
Right on.
Yeah.
And you're how old now?
18.
So 218, and Jordan, you're how old?
18.
You're all 18. So these guys aren't even enough to drink the beer sitting with me, and they're already running circles around. It's unbelievable. So, so you said you started out with guitar and then moved to drums?
Yeah.
What was that transition? Was that just something that kind of happened naturally, or?
Kinda, yeah. I mean, I liked playing guitar, but I didn't really, it wasn't home for me. And then when I was about 10, I saw Metallica at Gillette, and I'm sure as many people will probably laugh at this statement, but I got massive inspiration from seeing Lars Ulrich play, and I was like, maybe that's what I want to do, and then I found home behind a drum set, and that's where I was like, okay, this is what I want to play, this is what I want to do, this is my main instrument of choice. But yeah, it was pretty natural, and it was pretty, it felt right, even starting out when things are tough and you're learning, like it felt right. It's like, okay, this is what I'm supposed to be doing, this is what I'm meant to do.
No, I get that totally. So Jordan, 18, I call you Mini Hendrix. And that's funny coming from me too, but yeah, you are a big part of what you guys do, my friend.
Thank you for that.
You're a hell of a showman that barely got any facial hair on you.
Right.
You already got that down pat. Good God, I sound like I'm 80.
Yeah, well,
that's you definitely bring the heat, man.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I
can't wait to see where things progress to.
Right, yeah.
So how young were you when you started playing?
I think so. I got my first guitar, I think, when I was 14. And then I really because everybody starts out guitar, they're not good. And, you look up to
sucked, believe it or not.
Right. And at the time you're like, man, I suck.
Yeah.
And, this isn't going to change. If I'm not good now, I'm not going to be good then. And I think I stopped playing guitar for a couple months, and then I watched one Kiss documentary, and it's all about, we played 2 shows and everybody threw beers at us and said that we were trash and blah, 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 but we kept going and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, okay, so every single person who is in the music industry has had some type of hardship, whether it's learning their instrument, being in their band, starting their band. Maybe I should just stick with it. Maybe I should give it a try. Right. And so I think by the time I was 15, I was like, okay, I'm going to put my foot to the floor. I'm just going to thug it out. I'm just going to do what I can. And, it kind of just turned into this ever evolving wheel of, okay, let's see if I can push myself to now. And let's see if I can handle being in a band. And so the cover band I joined with Maddie, it was my first real band. I think by then I was 16, maybe a year and a half into guitar, maybe.
And he was your first drummer?
First drummer.
You spoiled little shit.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. Well, a lot of the things that I learned from, just how to organize a band and function and, just setting up rehearsals. A lot of it came from him just texting the group chat and be like, all right, everybody needs to get their lazy asses out of bed and go to my house and we need to fucking rehearse,
Yeah.
So, it was cool to see that. And then he texted me one morning, and I'm always saying, it was a blessing that I was even awake, because it's 10:30 and I had just woken up 7 minutes before he texts, and I see his message, and it's like, hey, so there's this girl, and she kind of sounds like the girl from Heart, and I'm kind of bored, so why don't we do something and see if, we can get something done. And I'm like, okay, fine. I guess it's chill. And, we get up and we just, we meet Izzy, and, I'm like, okay,
he
this
had
is
to
cool.
spend 10 extra minutes on the throne before
Right.
he could get out to do it.
Right.
That's just the way it goes.
Yeah. And after that first meetup, I think that was last August maybe.
Okay.
And I think ever since then we were just like, okay, this is cool. We're just going to see where it goes. And now we're here, and we've done things that I couldn't even picture myself doing when I first picked up my guitar, It's that you never know where the road's going to go until you just fucking floor it and keep going down it, So
yeah, totally.
It's cool, and it's definitely a blessing to be able to do stuff like this, especially at my age, and I'm always talking to them about, I was like, I am the absolute child of the group. I'm younger than both of them, and I'm able to do things that people my age cannot do and can't even picture doing, and it's crazy, Yeah.
No, it's definitely a mind blower for sure.
Right.
So, like you said earlier, as the musician, we all start off in a certain point where, you're not quite confident in what you're doing,
Right.
and you're like, oh, I don't know if I should be doing this.
Right.
What pushed you across that threshold?
I feel like it was something about like, because when we first started playing shows, I'd always be like in the back of my head, okay, I played this show and I think I did okay, but I don't really know. And there'll be doubts of, oh man, I fucked up the guitar, my amp wasn't good, blah, blah, blah. But I feel like a lot of it came from just people coming up and being like, I've never seen somebody play guitar like that. I've never seen people run the stage like that, ever since fucking Pantera came out or, whatever, like these hard establishing bands from like the 70s to the 90s, and people are comparing us to them. And so I feel like to hear that comparison, to see the compliments and to hear the praise, it kind of helps me be like, okay, I have one bad night. It's in the past. All I can do is push and give the people what they want is the show.
No,
and I feel
definitely.
like that definitely helps me strive and keep going and inevitably become better than I was that night, you know?
No, definitely.
Yeah.
So you guys start out as covers in different groups,
Yeah.
come all together, and how was the transition to composing versus redoing somebody else's stuff?
So we originally started out by doing covers, but
Yeah.
it was only for a couple months. Like we met that's how we met. Is that we were like, hey, we're gonna agree on these couple songs. We'll play them all together. And we did for
Right.
a while, like maybe like 2 or 3 months, and then I think I was the first to come out with an original. I'm like, hey,
Yeah, you brought
here's this
one.
Yeah.
original.
Yeah.
Like I want us to try it out, and it worked, and we just kept going.
Yeah.
Like it was only a couple months in, and I think that really is what also makes us successful, is that we are just really like that in tune with each other. Like we're that connected that we could just make music
Right.
like that quickly.
Yeah,
Yeah.
even when we were playing covers, I'll move this mic a little closer. Even when we were playing covers, I think the first song we ever played was "Ain't Talk About Love" by Van Halen.
Oh, yeah.
And like
Throwback.
even just from that, like we kind of like stopped playing and we like looked around and we're like,
Yeah, we
okay, that was like surprisingly
ran through
good.
it like once.
Yeah,
Yeah,
right.
play now.
We sit there and we're like, this band's mint.
and then Izzy brought "Want You," and we just started writing stuff. And I mean, I think we wrote the first album in the stage of like
3 months. I
yeah,
think.
Yeah,
2
right.
or 3 months, and it's
Yeah.
always just been really easy for us. And I think that's because we are all devoted in what we do. We're driven. We want this to be our future, and we've all had experiences in previous bands where not all the members had that same attitude.
Right.
Really, the reason why this whole band started and why also there's only 3 of us is because we came together from our 2 separate bands because we were like, we're really the only ones who actually want to do this. Everyone else is just doing it, for fun or
Yeah,
something to do on the
Right,
weekends.
yeah.
Or, but
We just work well together.
Yes.
Like that's
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
it, I guess.
I think there was one time we tried to put a 4th member in, and I
Yeah.
think that was the first and last time we even considered like adding anybody else. And people come up to us all the time. Like I know Maddie and Izzy hear it all the time where it's like, you guys are a 3-piece and you guys fill up space and you make noise and you guys run the show and that's hard. And I'm like, yeah, but we all have that compatibility to where when the 3 of us are on stage, we can make it sound like it's a full band with so many members.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I was talking with my singer, Adam from DMT,
Yeah.
the other day about you guys, and it's like you don't see very much organic rock and roll anymore.
Right. Yeah.
And that was the first thing that stood out to me with you guys, is that, like you said, mentioning Pantera and stuff like that. I mean, they're a very heavy example, but,
Right.
none of them played the clicks. None of them,
Yeah.
it was all just chemistry and being
Yeah.
on,
Right,
on
yeah.
time with each other.
yeah,
And there's something to say about that.
yeah, we've
And-
always tried to keep it extremely organic with all
Yeah.
that, and
Yeah.
in terms of, what we do as a band, we try to keep things just like, nope, we go on there with our amps and our instruments, and we go, we play, we're in the music. We're not having, some level of, like you said, a click or a track or anything, not to diminish any band that uses that, because obviously a lot of bands out there use it for very good reasons. But we've always just been very much more, old school rock and metal, because I mean that's really what we all drew inspiration from.
Right.
Yeah.
I think also, like, maybe it was just how we started, but, like, we also just jammed together, and I think that helps. That we're just kind of in tune with each other, and we just know, like,
No, that goes a long way.
It does.
I know a lot of the songs that we have for this album that's coming out soon, a lot of it, like, there's parts in it that weren't in the original version of it that came from us. We sit down, like the choke breakdown. We're sitting down and we're like, man, this song needs something else. We don't know what. And so we all just start jamming, and then Mike's like, shut up. This is the breakdown.
Yeah.
And that's how stuff happens.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, that too.
Our Unborn's breakdown, perfect example. We always joke, because our rehearsal space is in the downstairs of our house, and upstairs is where he hangs out, and we always joke that, whenever Mike walks down the stairs, we either know we're getting yelled at or we're getting told to do that again.
Right.
It's one of the two. And so, like, whenever we hear the door open, like, we're like, oh boy. All right,
Here comes the cavalry.
I guess the rare occasion that we get complimented.
Right.
You're all just looking at each other like, did you hear that?
Right.
We did something wrong.
Yeah.
Oh man, that's too.
But
funny.
a lot of that, him coming down and we say giving us the beatings, beating us into the shape that we should be in, definitely helps us, be a better band, and his experience and his band that he had, like, he kind of meant, again, like, he's our manager, but he's our mentor,
Yeah,
like,
I mean, for me, it was always, I started gigging at about 19, 20.
Right.
And, I didn't have anybody with that background per se.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, I had some relatives that were, they play guitar, but not seriously, at least once I was born into the family. But, my dad can plow a field and grow a plant, but can't keep a beat to save his life.
Right.
Even though he loves jamming on drums.
Yeah.
He tries anyway, but I didn't have all the support that you guys do, so you're very, very lucky. It was all kind of on-the-job training for me.
Right, yeah.
So, no, that's great. So, you got a new album in the works. What kind of timeline are we thinking? When are we going to be seeing things? 4 months or so, Mike?
We'll go, about 4 months.
Okay.
This album, for us, I mean, when we went into it, we wanted to make it, we had a couple main goals. We were like, okay, we want the album to be longer than our first, because our first one was only like 30 minutes long.
Yeah.
And then we wanted it to be heavier, or, heavier, darker, so we, again, over the course of a couple months, just, locked ourselves in the rehearsal space, and we've come out with something that we're really, really excited to share with the world. There's a lot on that album that, I think people are gonna like, and I think people are gonna be, surprised by to hear, if they listen to the first record and then listen to this one that's coming out, because there's, a much different approach with songwriting, playing,
Just
tones.
drastically different.
Yeah, there's so many different aspects in our second album where, even in the songs that are off that album that we play live and the songs that we haven't played yet, all of them, like, it's the same formula of each one of them is different, but each one of them has the same aspects, but it's like boosted by 10 times, we're all more mature in our instruments, I say. We definitely have developed our sound into more of that heavy rock that we used to say, but it really makes that meaning true.
Yeah.
You know, like we're less rock orientated and more on that heavier side, but it's still like the kick-ass riffs, and you know, there's still melodic singing, there's violent singing, there's you know, there's a lot of stuff in that album that if you were like a diehard fan of the first one, you wouldn't even know that it was us. Like you'd have no clue.
And sometimes that's where bands shine, is when they evolve like that. So
Right, yeah.
I'm looking forward to sitting down and taking a listen to that for sure.
For sure.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So outside of the band, we'll start with Izzy. Do you have any hobbies that most people don't know about, or anything that you do in your spare time, if you have any?
I mean, I play multiple instruments. I mean,
Okay.
I play the bass and I sing. But actually, I'm going to school for music, and I play the cello.
Oh, fantastic.
Yeah, and I've been playing it for about 10 years, so I love playing my cello, doing it, I guess, more professionally. And I like art. I like to draw and paint. Those are my big things. I think besides that, I mean, I think if you looked at me, you could probably assume what I like, so.
I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a fair shot.
Yeah.
You know, you got that goth rock thing going on. So, Maddie, how about you?
In my spare time, I'm usually either working on my cars, or I like to go fishing. I like just, you know, hanging out, hiking, walking around, being in nature, you know, just usual stuff. But I mean, music is kind of my main
Yeah.
Yeah.
thing. But I mean, I guess you could say, other than being in music, most of the time I spend my time swearing and throwing wrenches around the shop and all that. But
Yeah, how's that phrase go? I got a mouth of a sailor with an accent of a truck driver or something?
yes,
Yeah.
Something like that.
Very true.
I agree.
Yeah.
Right on. I
I
can
love
totally
that one.
relate to that. Just my life in general, you'd think I was a sailor.
Right.
But, Jordan, how about you?
I think a lot of my spare time, either, you know, because, I mean, past the band, I'm working at a pizza place.
Okay.
And, you know, pizza places, I love my job, but, you know, pizza places are pizza places. You got
Yeah,
to
it's a
work
means to an
hours to
end.
make some
Yeah,
money.
yeah,
So,
exactly.
you know, a lot of my days, besides concerts and rehearsals, I spend a lot of time working making those pizzas. But
Yeah.
the days that I'm free, you know, I'm hanging out with friends because, I mean, you live a busy life, you don't get a lot of time to see people. So, you know,
Yep.
I try to see as many people as I can. You know, and what we do, it just varies. I mean, depending on the day. Sometimes it's
Right.
basketball. Sometimes we go skating. You know, sometimes we just sit at a friend's house, my house, and we just fuck off and do whatever. But you know, I try to get time in with the people that I grew up with, and
Right.
you know, have been friends with for a couple of years. You know, so it's basically what I do.
I think for all of us, we could say that band is a big part of our
Yeah,
life.
it
though.
is.
Like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
our weekends are dedicated to it, and practice as well. And
Right.
Yeah.
it's
Well,
always
and
something
How
band
often do you guys practice?
We usually try to do like once.
Once a week,
yeah,
usually?
at least once a week.
Yeah.
I mean, recently we've been having a lot of gigs, so like it's
Yeah.
usually practice.
Right.
Then we have a
Right.
gig, and
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or 2 gigs. So
Yeah.
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 We had a 3-show weekend not that long ago. That was a lot.
It's rough.
Yeah.
It's a rugged week.
4-day runs are rough.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Because you know it's go to a gig, and I'm pretty sure that weekend one of the gigs, the first gig was in Maine, so it's go to the gig. You're in Maine for like 7 hours. You get home, right, you know, and you
Yeah.
get home at like 2 a.m. You sleep. You wake up
Yeah.
at 9. Got to go to the next place.
Yeah.
You're there until 3 a.m. You wake
Yeah.
up the next morning, next place, and then, you know, you're just beat by the end of the week.
Right. So doing that for a week straight's tough on anybody.
Right, yeah.
So, 2-part question. Collectively, with this new album coming out and whatnot, and just with the band in general, what do you think you guys are most looking forward to in the next cycle of things with the year coming up?
Ooh.
I would personally say what I'm most excited for is to, put this, like I said, put this music out there, because I mean, it's this new album coming out, we're all extremely proud of it, and it's, we stand behind it as like, yeah, this is, we've been saying like, the first album was a test. This is now like, this is now us on a, record or whatever you want to say. But I'm really excited to put it out into the world, and just in general, honestly, keep evolving our sound.
Yeah.
And, because there's even, we're constantly not changing, but evolving stylistically. And I guess, honestly, I'm just really excited to see what comes next. I'm always looking forward to what comes next, and, the shows that will come with it, and, hopefully meeting some of you guys along the way and bringing you along for the ride. And, yeah, I'd say that's, at the very least, what I'm most excited for.
Right.
I think I'm excited for our fans, because a lot of the time people are always upset when they see us live, because we don't really play a lot of our first album stuff anymore.
Yeah.
And they'll be like, "Where's the music?" It's not on.
Right,
We
yeah.
don't sound anything like we do like on our first album anymore. And so I think, one, for our fans, and also just to be able to hear the drastic difference in our sound from the first album to the second album is...
Yeah, it sounds like you guys have really found yourselves collectively.
Yes, we've
Yeah.
definitely developed our sound. And
Right.
we kind of discovered where we really want to go.
Nice.
Yeah.
As a band.
To piggyback on what Izzy said there, our roadie, Eric, and then our photo girl, my girlfriend, Melody, they've been, like, ever since we first started playing, they're like, when are you guys going to drop the album? Like, we'll just, like, hear them, say it, like, on the bus or whatever on the way to the show. They're like, please, we need to add it onto our playlist. And we're like, sorry, guys.
Yeah, we got to take our time here.
I take our
Yeah.
time, and everybody crashes out, and they're like, hurry up.
Yeah.
I can't wait. And I'm like, oh, well, you got to wait the process. And,
Well, that
and,
shows they give a shit, though.
Right,
That's a
yeah.
good thing.
Even like me, like it sounds. I don't want to be full of myself, but even I'm excited for the second album to come out. Like,
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
don't really like to listen much to our first album, because I just don't think it's really us.
Right.
Second one, I'm actually gonna be excited to share it with people.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's a much better of a, performance musical showcase, but also, a much better showcase of, writing in terms of lyrically and structurally and riffs and all that. Like, there was a lot more times where, I think we kind of like, we're like, okay, we got this, new song all put together. Let's try running it through. And we would run it through, and we'd be like, we'd all just give each other that look of like, okay.
Yeah.
Right.
This
yeah.
is, like the first time we played through like Choke and Unborn and stuff, it was the kind of thing where it was like, okay, all right, we got,
the
we
banger.
we really got something here.
Right.
Yeah, as far as subject matter goes, where do you feel the biggest difference is between your first EP and that?
Dude.
You're saying in terms of
Just
like-
content, like what you guys are talking about, the kind of
Oh,
things.
okay.
There's the lyrical content's very a lot more. I'm gonna use the word mature.
Okay. Okay.
Because all the songs on the first album, I feel are like
They were
on
made
the
by
lighter. I mean, like they're all talking about lovey-dovey and I miss my boyfriend, girlfriend, and I can't
using the
believe you're
term
gone.
rock and roll.
Right? Yeah. And now in songs we're talking about like some evil shit and
Yeah,
like.
so you went from
Right.
Nickelodeon to MTV.
Right,
there.
yeah. We went from that cartoon, that like midnight change from Cartoon Network to
Yeah,
Adult
there we
Swim,
go,
you know? And, we got songs that I think, like, I use Choke a lot.
Yeah.
You listen to a song like Want You, and you're like, okay, Izzy's gonna sing about stuff like this for like the rest of her life. And then you listen to Choke, and you're like, Now she's singing about bondage and ball gags and
We've
wax.
hit puberty, folks.
Right,
Yeah, right.
Yeah, so I think the lyrical content will definitely be a drastic change, and for the ones who like that lighter style,
Yeah.
might be a little bit of a of a stomach wrencher,
I
but
think we still have some lighter stuff on there.
Yeah.
That's
there's
tolerable.
I will say overall, though, that, it is much more of, mature topics, even if it's not something like, like Choke, which is about, like, bondage, just something
Right.
of, like, okay, well, now I'm older and I'm at this, we're all at this very big transitional point in our lives where
Yeah.
we're like, we don't really know where we're going, how to, operate in this so-called real world or whatever.
Right.
So, some of it, songs like, Unborn and stuff like that is just about, like, thinking about, like, how is my life going to be, talking about
Right.
being in this weird state of limbo of, like,
Question mark.
think I'm going this way, but I might be going that way.
Right,
But,
yeah.
no one really knows kind of thing.
Yeah, so it's kind of reflective of your own situations, like
Yeah.
Right.
where you're at
Yeah.
I
in
think
life, and that's something that I think you guys are at an age bracket right now where, that doesn't get a lot of representation.
right,
Yeah.
So I think it's really interesting to me, especially that you see stuff that goes on in that age bracket that doesn't always come out in music, and you guys are putting
Yeah.
it right in our faces
right, yeah.
where it needs to be.
Well, that's the
and-
way that we
Especially
see
our
it.
generation,
Exactly,
too. Like,
exactly.
our generation, every generation goes through things, but our world is very different than how it was like 20 years ago.
Oh,
Like,
absolutely.
and
Yeah.
issues are a lot more apparent, regardless of what you want to focus on. But
Yeah.
Right.
how we experience life is a lot different than
Right.
people did 20 years ago. Especially like people who
Yeah.
are 18, 20, like going through pretty big changes in life. So.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can tell you, I'm not the same person I was at that age.
Right, yeah.
For sure. I can relate to that. And it's nice from an artist standpoint to see that be displayed in kind of an open book to you guys. So
Right,
as
yeah.
fans, we appreciate that. So that's just something for you guys to think about.
Yeah, for sure.
Thank you. We appreciate
Aside from, your overall goal, anybody got any individual goals this year for the band? Whether it means,
I'd like to broaden the stage acts more.
yeah.
Yeah.
hopefully.
Yeah.
I want to experiment more with more, I guess, like outrageous things.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, one of my like favorite bands I've been listening to like the last couple months called the Genitorturers, and they have a very interesting stage act, and it's kind of something that I had in mind too, but
So we're gonna put a sparkler in Maddie's ass crack and get him over.
basically, yeah.
Hey, man, I'll
Yeah.
go
Something
for
like
it.
that.
So freaky.
Just, I'd like to get more crowd participation in shows.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I guess I'll say the theatrical aspect, because I mean I look at shows from us when from the first album when it came out to shows now, and like I obviously like I watch myself a lot, and it went from like that whole 80s hair metal of just run around on stage and get in people's faces to now where it's like, okay, I'm gonna do the Maynard thing where during Unborn I'm just gonna spaz the hell out, and during things like Relapse there's times where I'll do a very specific thing in a specific place, and I feel like that and like her blood and like I grew up listening to Michael Jackson sometimes and watching some Michael Jackson shows where the choreography was a big part of what the show was, and I feel like with this album we can do a lot more with the doing choreographed things where like the blood or Maddie just does some freaky shit with his drums
Yeah,
or
because people go to shows to see shows. They don't
Right.
necessarily-
Yeah.
I mean, obviously
Right.
they like to listen to music too, but like if you want to listen to music, you put on the radio
Right.
or whatever.
that
Yeah, and I
thing.
think
you
that's
listen
that performance, like you said, is missing in rock and roll nowadays.
Yes.
Right, yeah.
Badly.
It's
So it's impressive to see you guys putting yourself in that mindset.
Right.
I think it's either not enough or it's too much.
Yeah.
A lot
Yeah.
of the times I see a lot of bands out there where I'm like, all right, guys, like
You're
we
get it.
we want to see your band,
Right.
you know what
Yeah.
I mean?
Not-
But
not
I think a
fireworks.
lot
Yeah.
of a lot
Right,
of
right,
bands that see that, because I'm sure a lot of bands see the same thing, where the theatrical aspect of bands like Kiss and Alice Cooper and Rob Zombie and all these different bands who built the theatrics,
Yeah.
they also miss that. But the problem is, a lot of the bands who do the theatrics make the whole show about the theatrics instead of this is theatrical aspects that tag along with the music. And I feel like that's something that all of us respectively have grown to learn how to do properly, is to add the theatrics onto the song so that it doesn't feel like a separate entity of the show.
Not the other way around.
Right. It's more of a hand-in-hand situation where without the song, the theatrics wouldn't be what it is, but without the theatrics, the songs wouldn't be the same, you know? Like, it's that type of
finding
thing.
that balance.
Right.
Yeah.
Right on.
Yeah.
So gigging as much as you have over the last year, what's some things that you learned along the way that you're not going to do again?
I mean, I don't know. I think we're all pretty.
Any lessons to be learned? I don't know. No, pretty straightforward.
Don't watch shows.
yes,
Right.
yeah.
Yeah.
Don't have too much caffeine.
Yeah.
I've done that. Maybe as a singer, don't have many sugary things where you have to sing and bark.
Right.
But,
Yeah.
I mean, we're all pretty respectful and professional at our shows. Like,
Oh,
we
yeah.
don't
Right.
really do any outrageous things that would get us kicked out of anywhere. Like, if we did, it'd probably be because a person is just being an asshole. But
Right.
I don't know. I don't think we've done anything like that insane.
There was like well, I think that, one thing that I think we've learned is being a band that's easy to work with, but also standing your ground when you
Yeah.
need to, because
Right.
Yeah.
there have been, moments at gigs that we've played where it's just kind of had to be a thing, like obviously, as you know, and I'm sure you guys have run into, there's moments where it's just like, all right, well, this is how it is,
Right,
So,
right.
Yeah.
I think, learning to, all of us, we try to be the easiest band to work with,
Yeah.
but, also having a backbone.
Yeah.
Also
Yeah.
saying,
Getting stepped on.
right. Not,
Right.
but I think really that's only our, learning thing, other than, simple little things like, okay, well, we're going to do, we're going to have people clap at the start of Ouija Girl
Yeah.
next time.
Right,
Right.
yeah.
Nuance type of shit.
Right.
Right.
Yeah, I think, yeah, I mean, yeah, there's a lot of things that we've definitely learned along the way. I'd say for me, like, a lot of the things I've learned is to just fucking relax before the show, dude.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah,
I remember...
that is true. That's a big one.
like at when we started, like, I remember specifically when we opened for Great White, and that was our second gig. So obviously we got fucking nerves all throughout our bodies, and we're all fucking shaking and tweaking, and you're all like, oh, I can't do this, and I'm like, and over the gigs, as you progress, you start to learn, like, dude, every show, regardless of how big the stage is or what the scenario is, every show is the exact fucking same.
Yeah.
You go on stage, you kick ass, you give the people a show, and you walk off stage and you set up, you take your gear down, you do what you gotta do.
Yeah.
And I feel like a lot of our shows that have gone well is because we just fucking calm down, dude. Like, we can't go on stage with all these, heart bumping at 230 BPM and, and us shaky and not, having any confidence.
Right.
Like, we have to have the confidence to run the stage. So I think that all of us have learned to just fucking breathe, and just chill. Like,
Yeah, it was funny. I with that Great White show, I mean, we were ready to play it, and we
Yeah.
were
Right.
excited to play it, and but I think like where I kind of learned of like, all right, I need to like start taking a breather here is because like by the second or third song, you're like, okay, this
I
is
own the stage.
Right,
This
yeah.
is good.
Right,
I'm
right.
comfortable. I'm confident. The crowd is, responding. But when you're starting out and it's your second gig, and
Right.
you're opening up for a national, and
Yeah.
you're like,
Yeah,
like,
right.
Yeah.
sweating bullets, and then you just realize, wait a minute, we're a band. We're
Right.
here for a reason, and we wouldn't be here if we couldn't do it.
Right.
So every show, we just get up on stage and we're like, all right, let's
Right.
go, let's kick ass, and we're good. Once we have that confidence among each other of like, all right, as long as we, listen and communicate with each other and just, play like we always do and like we're like what's natural to us, then
Right.
we end up, it's like, it's okay. You know what I mean?
Right.
We're okay now. But yeah, I think, overall confidence and, and calming down and, just working through the gigs and, making sure another thing we've learned is making sure you talk to people.
Yeah.
Because there have been so many things that have happened in, this year and a half, almost 2 years that we've been together as a band that wouldn't be possible if we didn't,
Yeah.
Right, yeah.
Yeah,
talk
you
to
gotta
people.
communicate.
This very moment right,
Right.
here, we
Right.
wouldn't be on this show if we
Yep.
weren't playing with you guys and
Right.
talking
Yeah.
to you at Hyannis.
Yeah.
Was that our first gig?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hyannis was Scarecrow.
Yeah,
Right.
that was fun.
Yeah.
I
So,
think I know that when we were starting to play shows, you go from like the Queensryche and the Great White Show where there's a good amount of people, and there's always going to be that show where you're like, okay, here's another show, I'm pumped, and then you go, maybe there's not enough people there that you want, maybe the people aren't reacting, or you just don't feel right that day. And I think that in terms of the fans and talking to people, you just have like the one thing I learned from that Kiss documentary that I started playing guitar from was that any show that you play, if you don't play it like fucking Madison Square Garden, you're never going to be in Madison Square Garden.
Exactly.
So we all play the show just like we were, playing in Milwaukee or like we're playing at the fucking Budokan or whatever. We play it. And that is partially how we find a way to engage, like you have to have a reason to engage with the people. If you don't, if you go on stage and you're pissed off and you're grumpy and, and you're like, oh, I can't believe that nobody's here, or, oh, I can't believe that the people aren't clapping to the song, like, and you don't talk to people, all you seem to be is this horrible, stuck up, egotistical musician. And and that's not what being a musician should be about. I mean, like, people listen to music because it resonates. People listen to music because they want to,
it's
I
an
guess, feel
engagement
it.
activity.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, they say music
Right.
speaks where words can't, and I think
Right.
and it's the big mutual connection that brings everyone together. So
Right.
like Jordan said, being on stage and whether there's 3,000 people in the room
Right.
or 3 people in the room, you treat it the same way, and you tell them to clap
Right.
their hands
Yep.
and say all the. I'll yell into the crowd and, be like, you can't hide from me. Like,
Right.
Yeah.
even though there's like, a couple people there, I don't care.
Right.
Whatever. If
And-
nothing else, I'm going to yell at you because I think it's funny.
Right. And I always say it to all the fans that I meet who, they come up and you're like, yo, you're crazy at, your band and your band is wild and blah, blah, blah. And I can't believe that you guys can put on a show like that. And I'm like, I don't care if there's 5 people in this room, 50, 500, 5,000, doesn't matter. Without those 5 people in the room, we'd have no fucking reason to be there. We'd have no reason to play that show.
Yep.
The idea that we're at that show, we're playing for those 3 people who are in the room, regardless of how much energy they put, regardless of how many people they bring, regardless of how shit-faced they are. We put on a show for them.
Right.
And to me, if that resonates with them and they can see the effort and they can appreciate us for putting on, an absolute 100% effort of a show, regardless of the situation, that to me is what brings a drive. To know that those 3 people were impacted when there was 50 people walking right across the building that could have had that impact. It's like, now I know.
Those people stuck around for your set.
Right. Those people came and those people stayed when everybody else walked by. And that to me is the biggest goal, is to just have however many people in that room just be that engaged and to have that much, what's the word? I guess, to look up to you that much.
Yeah.
Especially at our age, to have people come up to us in their 30s or 40s and have that much praise for us and be the only people in their room, that means a lot to me, and I'm sure to everybody else, in the band and the circle of the band, because I mean, you don't see that a lot anymore. People see young talent as you guys aren't experienced or you guys aren't there yet.
Yeah.
And so when people come up to us and they're like, you guys play you've been playing since the 90s or early 2000s, it really goes to show how much effect we have. So I always think about that in an empty room, a packed room, or a mid-sized room. I can do this because other people who have played in a 3-person room have told me that I can.
Yeah.
So, that's kind of where it all goes,
Yeah, I mean, and anybody that has that kind of positivity with it, it's the right way to go.
Right,
sure.
yeah. For sure.
So, do you guys, I mean, I guess the way I want to word this is, you've got a lot under your belt already.
Right.
We've got a whole brand new year coming in.
Right.
We're knocking on the back end of 2025 now.
Yep.
Yeah.
Believe it or not. And, in a perfect world, where do you guys want to be this time next year?
Well, I'd love to be touring. That's the dream, is that we
Right.
get on a good tour as soon as possible.
Yeah.
I hope that, if not touring, we're still where we are, playing fun gigs. Hopefully on the 3rd album.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, probably by then, I assume.
Yeah.
Yeah,
if we're-
probably knowing us, we can't, help but be well, we should probably write something
we were
new.
Right.
songs anyway.
Well, that's a
Yeah.
good thing because, Will and I were just talking earlier, even big bands that go 3 or 4 years without new material and it gets stagnant like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's great to see you guys so motivated and ambitious and not slacking in any way.
Right.
Well-
You rightfully could at your age.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, at least for me, I love writing new stuff. Even just
yeah, that's
experimenting, even if it doesn't really amount to anything. It's also
Right.
just fun being able to jam out with my friends,
yeah.
Yeah.
and create music, hopefully that we love, and we're really eager to be able to perform for people.
Right.
Yeah.
A lot of the cycles of us making the songs and recording the songs, we think of it less of oh yeah, this is fucking, we have to get it, we have to get it perfect, but we're less thinking about we're writing a song, but we really just remember all our songwriting and recording as remember when this happened, and remember when that happened, and remember when Maddie crashed out and broke sticks and recording the his drum part or whatever.
Yeah,
And
it comes a life of its own.
Right.
Yeah,
And I think if we can keep that positivity up until next year and further on, I think we'll be a lot more of a strong band. Because a lot of bands, they, like the downfall of bands like Kiss and the downfall of bands like Metallica or breakups and stuff like that, they all happen because their morale just goes down. And, it's when people get too stuck up with success and fame and money and whatever the case is, people crash out. People get pissed, and people don't see eye to eye. So I think the fact that we have that companionship where we see each other less of business
We're friends.
partners and more, more as
Family.
friends
Yeah,
and
I'd
family.
say family is a better.
Right.
And that dynamic itself is hard to maintain in today's world. I
Right,
mean,
yeah.
Yeah.
You know, I'm very fortunate that the bands I've been in, I've been all pretty tight knit for the most
Right.
part. But you do run into situations where, you know, like you said, members come and go, or somebody
Right.
has to do whatever. But it seems like you guys are really dedicated to each other.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I think it makes it easier to, well, I guess be dedicated and also work together because there's only 3 of us, which is
Right.
another reason why it's easier to not have a 4th member. Is that we,
Right.
you know, if one of us has an issue with another, like we can talk it out. Like if we don't have other, like a bunch of other people, you know.
Right. It doesn't become
speculating.
2 separate groups of
Yeah.
the band. Or,
Yeah.
And also
You know,
to be
whatever.
fair, like if kind of like one of us left, like it's like almost half the band gone. Like
Yeah.
you know. So I mean, we all can easily talk to each other. Not that we fight. I don't think we ever like actually fight.
There's
Sometimes we
never
make
been
fun
a
of each
fight.
other, but
There's been disagreements, obviously. Not every. It's like
Not
it's like
everything's
working in a
perfect.
relationship. Not you're never gonna have a relationship where you never have a disagreement.
Right.
It doesn't have to be an argument. Doesn't have to be a fight. Nobody has to crash out, but you're not always gonna disagree. And I think the thing that helps us is the fact that the 3 of us aren't. There's never that 4th member where
Yeah.
one person goes and now you're siding with this guy, and now
Right.
the other 2 are crashing out at each other, and they see that we're siding, and it's a whole fucking civil war trying to figure out who's right and who's wrong. It
Yep.
really just boils down to
Yeah,
the
you
3 of
wouldn't
us
believe how
talk.
often that happens.
Right.
It happened with me and Jordan's previous band that we were in. That's
Yeah.
why him and I broke off and
Right.
joined forces with his. But
I guess in a sense, like, we were that second camp where it's the 2 of us and we're like,
Right.
oh, I can't believe that they're doing this and they're doing that. But like, we weren't necessarily doing it because we didn't like the people or we hated working with them. It was really just, we see potential in them, but they aren't giving enough, and we see more of a serious thing. And it turned from just, oh, I can't fucking deal with this guy, to let's actually find somebody who we can work with in that sense. So it gave us that drive to actually do something, which it's kind of hard because we were young, you know, we were
absolutely.
all teenagers, and
but
when
now's
people,
the time to do that.
right, exactly.
I think also none of us are really hard to work with. Like we were all pretty like
yeah.
for the most part open to each other's ideas. Like you know,
Right.
we don't really get mad at each other.
Yeah, I don't get any ego vibes from any of you, and I can smell
Right.
that a mile away.
Yeah, that's definitely one thing. We never really have any issues, and we all work with each other. And I think the thing that a lot of people can't deal with is constructive criticism.
Yeah.
And I mean, like, there's definitely been, like, I can 100% tell you there have been songs that I bring where things have to get tweaked, or there's been songs where Maddie and Izzy brings where things get tweaked out, or you know, we beat people into shape to sound the way that they need to sound, and
Right.
but we all know that it's never about hatred to each other or any, you
It's about
know,
bringing the best out in each other
Right.
and being the best band
Right.
we can. And I guess to give a very long answer to what your first question was, Josh, I guess that's really where I think we all kind of hope to be this time next year, is still working with each other and increasing in strength as a band.
Right.
And putting out this new music to, bring people out to shows and get people back into music, bring the bring the local scene more energy and, all of that. I really hope that as a band, we obviously stick together and we just keep doing our thing.
right, yeah, for sure.
Absolutely. No, definitely. I mean, you guys have a lot of potential. You're going in the right direction.
Thank you.
I'd say just
Thank you.
keep it up and keep going where you're
Yeah,
going.
right.
So, where are you guys playing next? Give me like a 2 or 3 show type of deal.
Well, next is
Charlie's
at
Hill?
Charlie's Hill.
Charlie's Hill.
All right, so Lebanon, Maine,
Fun
folks.
place.
There's a good lineup.
Yeah.
Yes, yeah. Very
September
good lineup.
27th. We got Paradise is Canceled, Scarecrow Hill, Define Perspective, us, obviously. And yeah, is that it?
Right on. Well, that's a hell of a lineup
Right.
for sure.
Do the commercial thing, all ages event, doors open at 5 p.m. Looking for more information, check out underthehorizon.org. Yeah.
Bravo. He's got the shtick down.
Well,
He's got it. Bravo.
we
man.
always joke when we're doing the commercials. We're like, because we always figure out like, okay, who's gonna say what? And we're like, we don't even worry about Jordan because we're just like, whatever, we'll keep doing the same thing.
Yeah, stand in the corner and press rewind on the
Yeah.
cassette tape. It was like word.
That's great. No, I mean, you guys are definitely pointing yourself in the right direction.
Thank you.
So, before we wrap it up here, I just want to get an idea for each of you.
Okay.
One national band that you want to open for this year.
Ooh.
Oh.
Oh, that's hard. That's hard.
I know my answer. I want to open up for Chimera.
Chimera. Okay.
Really?
Chimera, I love Chimera. I started listening to them when I was like 13, and you're at that age. I had the whole long mohawk thing that slipped to the side or whatever, and I would just listen to that and just crash out. But I still listen to it today, and obviously I drive huge musical inspiration. But we saw them at Milwaukee, and it was just like, God, we want to share the stage with these guys. So at least for me, I'd say Chimera is a band that I want us to open up for.
Right on. All right, Izzy, what do you think?
I have no clue. Half the bands I like are not together anymore.
Yeah, but that's not a bad thing.
Usually most people are dead. So. Maybe another Milwaukee one. Arch Enemy was really, really cool.
Ooh, yes.
Yeah,
Arch
that's
is
a
cool.
really
That
good
was
choice.
fire.
No, this is
those guys.
fantastic.
Right.
I think
That
that'd
whole
be-
band is amazing.
The first time I really got to listen to them was at Milwaukee, which was a big turning point for me in my music taste. I wasn't a heavy metal listener before that, but like a couple bands. But after seeing that really inspired me. So I think probably Arch Enemy would be awesome.
Right.
All right, J-Man, what we got?
I know. So, one of my, I guess, deep wishes would be to just open up for Alice Cooper. I think Alice Cooper's a big staple in any rock or metal genre. I mean, he's been there for decades, and he has, I know, helped a lot of young talent, get a foot into the music industry and a big step. So to open up for him would be really cool. But I'd say in terms of the genre that I'd want to open up for, I would fucking kill to open up for Pantera.
Yeah.
I'd fucking
In a perfect
kill.
world, yeah.
Right, in a
Yeah.
perfect
Right,
world. Because,
right.
I mean, I drive down the road and even at 7 a.m. you wake up and you're like, okay, I'm going to turn on music. How
It's better
about...
than your morning coffee?
Right,
It just,
yeah.
gets you ready. For
It's how about use my third arm, and I'm driving down the road, pounding the fuck out of my steering wheel and crashing out, and I'm like, okay, this in an ideal world is who I'd open up for, just so that because I mean Pantera is all about just fucking crashing out and
Watch
just
it go, baby.
putting that energy
Yes.
in, so it'd be cool to convey that for the show,
Absolutely, and you do a damn good representation of that. That's for sure.
Thank you.
We were actually fortunate enough to speak on Pantera. We were very fortunate enough to, in Milwaukee, meet Dimebag's wife, Rita.
Yes.
And that was a, incredible moment to, talk to someone that it's like, wow, not only, do I know you from the Pantera home videos and stuff like
Right.
that, but you were there with these people that I
Idolize.
idolize and wouldn't even think that I'm anywhere close to even being in the same room as what I mean?
Right,
But, yeah, I mean, it was incredible, but yeah, I mean, I'd say overall for us, Pantera, Arch Enemy, and Chimera are probably the ones. Oh, and Guar. I
There's
feel
a
like
bunch
we,
of bands,
I-
I think,
yeah,
in general.
there's a
that's such
lot.
a hard question to answer.
it
'cause,
is.
Each
No,
one
but
of us.
I'm surprised by your
Right.
answers in a good way.
Right.
That's a nice variety for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, in an ideal world, I would say typo negative, but
Right.
Atta
Yeah.
girl, right after my
poor
own hat.
Peter,
There you go.
But like I said, they're not together anymore for for obvious
Yeah.
reasons. Yeah.
Good deal. Well, guys, this has been Under the Horizon. Bulldog coming at you one more time. We'll see you next time.
Hell yeah.